Presented by Listen Headlines, latest world news from trusted sources. Updating daily at 6 a.m. New York. New York Times World News.
November 29, 5 o'clock America, New York. One step closer to a universal flu vaccine? Scientists have tested in animals a vaccine that may protect against 20 strains of influenza, helping to prevent another pandemic. Current influenza vaccines protect against seasonal flu but would provide little protection against a new strain that may emerge as a pandemic threat.
RT World News.
November 29, 4:54 America, New York. China warned away U.S. warship. USS Chancellorsville was trespassing in its waters in the South China Sea. Beijing claims China's military has said that its forces have followed and warned away the American guided missile cruiser USS Chancellorsville after it approached the Nansha, also called the Spratly, Islands in the South China Sea early on Tuesday.
Washington Post World.
November 29, 4:48 America, New York. Trial starts in Norway for Putin Ali's son who flew drone. The son of a Russian businessman close to President Vladimir Putin has denied any wrongdoing at the start of his trial in northern Norway, where he is accused of violating a law that bars Russians from flying drones.
BBC News World. November 29, 4:39 America, New York. Japan death row prisoners sue government to stop hangings. The prisoners are also seeking financial compensation for the mental agony of living in fear of death.
Washington Post World.
November 29, 4:06 America, New York. Stowaways found on a ship's rudder in Spain's Canary Islands. Spain's Maritime Rescue Service says it has rescued 3 stowaways traveling on a ship's rudder in the Canary Islands after the vessel sailed there from Nigeria.
World News. Breaking international news and headlines. Sky News.
November 29, 4:04 America, New York. Smog engulfs New Delhi as air pollution reaches severe levels. Smog has engulfed New Delhi as air pollution reached severe levels in parts of India's capital city. Heavy smog engulfs a highway in New Delhi earlier this month.
Time.
November 29, 4 o'clock America, New York. What is outdoor air conditioning? And how bad is it for the environment? The organizers of this year's World Cup in Qatar are facing heat for a range of controversies. But when athletes hit the field, they'll be nice and cool, despite scorching temperatures outside. Washington Post World.
November 29, 3:51 America, New York. Qatar, Germany sign liquefied natural gas deal amid crisis. Qatar and Germany have signed a 15-year deal to ship liquefied natural gas from Doha to the European economic powerhouse as it scrambles to replace Russian gas supplies that were cut during the ongoing war in Ukraine.
World News. Breaking international news and headlines. Sky News.
November 29, 3:51 America, New York. Hawaii residents told to prepare for evacuation amid Mauna Loa gas and ash warnings. People living on the slopes of the Mauna Loa volcano on Hawaii's Big Island have been told to prepare for a worst-case scenario as it continues to erupt and belch volcanic ash into the air. People watch the eruption of Mauna Loa, Monday, November.
BBC News World.
November 29, 3:41 America, New York. Will Smith says bottled rage led him to slap Chris Rock at the Oscars. The actor is interviewed on U.S. television for the first time since the infamous incident in March.
World News. Breaking international news and headlines. Sky News.
November 29, 3:25 America, New York. China protests paused as police flood streets and temperatures drop below freezing. Protests against China's strict anti-lockdown measures have been paused as police were out in force on Beijing's streets and temperatures dropped well below freezing. Chinese security personnel walk past a junction near the site of protest the day before in Beijing.
New York Times World News.
November 29, 3:11 America, New York. Isabel dos Santos, daughter of Angola's ex-president, faces arrest on corruption charges. Isabel dos Santos, the daughter of Angola's former president, was accused of enriching herself with state resources during her time in control of the country's oil company. Isabel dos Santos, the daughter of Angola's longtime president José Eduardo dos Santos.
Time.
November 29, 3:09 America, New York. Chinese university students sent home amid protests. Beijing. Chinese universities are sending students home as the ruling Communist Party tightens antivirus controls and tries to prevent more protests after crowds angered by its severe, zero-COVID restrictions called for President Xi Jinping to resign in the biggest show of public dissent in decades.
RT World News. November 29. 2:21 America New York. U.S. approves arms sales to NATO applicant. The potential deal with Finland involves tactical missiles and glide bombs, the Defense Department says.
Fox World News.
November 29. 2 o'clock America New York. Many Iranians want U.S. victory in World Cup game amid ongoing protests. Amid a tense build-up to Tuesday's soccer match between the Islamic Republic of Iran and its archenemy the U.S., many ordinary Iranians are rooting for America because of Tehran's bloody crackdown.
Mirror World News.
November 29. 1:52 America New York. Anti-lockdown protests in China paused as police flood city streets in clampdown. Momentum has reportedly stalled after the wave of anti-lockdown protests in China over last weekend, with a strong crackdown by authorities as police flood the streets.
New York Times World News.
November 29. 1:14 America New York. Your Tuesday briefing. Ukrainian military officials say Russia is planning more strikes on infrastructure. Older residents are evacuated from Kherson, Ukraine, on Sunday.
Mirror World News.
November 29. 1:13 America New York. Shark circles two swimmers cutting them off from Dubai beach in terrifying footage. Footage has gone viral of two swimmers in the sea by a Dubai beach when a lifeguard suddenly tries to get their attention that there is a shark in the water between them and the land.
BBC News World. November 29. 0:25 America New York. Vivek Agnihotri's Kashmir Files. Row over Israeli filmmaker Nadav Lapid's comment. Nadav Lapid, jury chief at an Indian film festival, called Bollywood hit the Kashmir Files propaganda.
Mirror World News.
November 29. 0:24 America New York. Hundreds of dead fish wash up on Adelaide Beach, sparking mystery for locals. Local authorities believe they have discovered why hundreds of anchovies washed up on a beach over the weekend after images emerged online of the mystery pile of dead fish.
RT World News.
November 29. 0:05 America New York. China must press North Korea to abandon nuclear arms, Seoul. The South Korean leader said the world should act in lockstep against the DPRK. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has urged China to step up pressure on Pyongyang to denuclearize, warning that escalating tensions with North Korea will only fuel an arms buildup in the region and encourage outside intervention by the United States.